Stage 1 and Stage 2 engine chill has started. Engine hydraulics at pressure. And Stage 1 fuel is closed out. Falcon 9 is in self-align. Falcon 9 heaters closing out.
Dragon has transitioned to configure for terminal count.
Vehicle tanks pressing for strong back retract.
Strong back retract has started.
Stage 2 RP1 bleed. Stage 1 RP1 bleed. AFTS final setup started. MVAC igniter purges. Pogo bleed.
Dragon has transitioned to terminal count and is on internal power.
Stage 1 LOX load closed out. Vehicle is transitioning to internal power. Stage 2 LOX load is closed out. Propellant fills are complete.
Dragon is in auto idle.
Ground gas closeout is starting.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Dragon is in countdown.
FTS is armed for launch.
Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Stage 1 tanks pressing for flight.
Top 79, Yankee Bridge. 2025, 79, do silver ground tank, 6 kilo. 2377 on half a kilo, going somewhere around 597. 77, do silver ground tank, be a Lima kilo 5 on hold short of kilo.
All right, welcome, folks. Mil-Spec Cosmic here. This is going to be your SITREP. It is 11 a.m. Central Time coming to you from the great state of Texas, and it is 10/26/2022. Now, as a reminder, this is going to be my last SITREP for about 3 weeks, so buckle up, and I pray nothing changes between now and then, although I suspect things will go kind of crazy before I get back. But nonetheless, I do have some other shows that I've got pre-recorded and posted out there for you that'll hopefully keep you fixed. And it's like I said, it's just one of those deals, bucket list. I get to go to Israel for 3 weeks, and really excited to do it. So if you would just pray for a safe return for me and my wife. And so, all right. So, hey, listen, don't forget, we got the app. Anything that I do post that while I'm there, a lot of it's going to come through this app. And just an FYI, you can get it. It's free download. And basically it is for the iOS as well as the Android. Again, free 90 free. So if you want to see the latest and greatest SITREP support, blogs, everything else, it's all going to be going right there as always. Now, also, just a reminder, we got No Shave November coming up. Just want to point out we've got this cool little box, a little bundle. So if you're thinking about growing one of your battle beards over the next 30 days or so, and you want to get an early start on it, these little bundles are nice and handy. Comes with a nice foaming beard wash, so if you get dirty, get some food in there. Easy to wash out. It's got a beautiful little beard oil to keep that beard from getting itchy and scratchy and keeping it soft. And then the balm, once you get a little bit of that growth going, just to keep it in place. So anyway, nonetheless, you can get those out there at monkeyworksus.com website in the shop. And so without further ado, let's hop on over here to our board. We're kicking it off today in Skyglass. Oh, let's see, sitting around just under 400, showing 395 mil up. It looks pretty busy, actually. Got quite a bit of an electronic suite up as well. A lot of fighters. But if you just break it out, 4 E6s Takamos, we're going to talk about those here in a minute. 4 Sentries that are up over the U.S., and then I believe we've got 4 R135s up as well. So let's get into that watch list real fast, kind of break it down and see what is happening here. Now, this is, notice we got the Mil Intel balloons up. across the U.S. as always. We got a new one. It's a Habal. It hasn't been termed military yet, supposedly. On the move over Mexico. I don't know what they're up to there, but it's sitting around 62,000 feet. And then we've got that Q9 drone up over Southern Cal. That's probably going to be Homeland Security if I had to guess. A couple Phoenix Airbirds up down there as well, and more Homeland Security. But yeah, there's your little Q9 UAV 16. And then, of course, got more Mil Intel at Troy 22. Couple gray 48 Intel 11. Those are going to be those peacock birds, right? The ones that we talk about, the little BE-20s. Running routes there right along the border. Another Homeland Security. And Homeland Security, again, very active today for some crazy reason. And then that is a Mil Intel balloon. It's just showing low. I know that thing's probably high. It's got a 0 altitude. I'm really doubting that. One of your Sentries. And again, that's Department of Energy. That's going to be one of the helos working, looking at nuclear power plant stuff. That in 420CH is that looks to be one of your weather-related modification birds headed out of the northeast, southwest, or sorry, southeast directional heading. R135, NOAA bird. And then you get into it, got a couple E6s, a lot of P8s. Out here, there's one of your TACAMOs, take charge, move out. Remember, that's talking to your ICBMs. Airborne Command Center. Another P8 out there off the coast there of Norfolk, Virginia. We'll look at the P8s closer here in a minute, too. And a flurry of P8s down off of Florida. And again, you got a little Shiner 50 R135 that's coming out of the Panhandle also. Usually don't see them down there. So, all right. E3 Sentry. These are NATO AWACS, right? Notice that tight circle, man in the middle over the UK. Gathering data. And then you get out here over, it looks to be just over Europe, running some routes there. But that is going to be it for the watch list. Nothing really else out there other than those German Air Force Mil Intelligent balloons here at the top of our screen. Always up 24/7, watching everything they're doing. So let's get into heavy lifts. Now, US-wise is a little heavier than Europe actually today, which is unusual. We got a couple headed out there towards the Caribbean side of the house. Those are going to be your Teal aircraft. Those are Hurricane Hunters. Got 2 of them headed out. Must have some activity going on out there. We'll look at that here in just a second, too, on our weather map. And then a lot of East Coast-centric stuff going on, you know, as always. And then a couple things breaching out to the west side. So let's go over to Europe. All right. Now, it looks like we are sitting at just a handful up, really. Last 24-hour traces, heavy lifts. Not too much going on. We've got some stuff headed in and out of Kuwait. It looks like mostly Middle East focused on that side of the house. Then we get into some stuff headed into Italy, up into England, as always. Now, let's get over to the refuelers. And this, very quiet over Europe from a refueler perspective. But just keep in mind, they're probably feeding fighters. Got some activity up over Germany, and then some stuff going on over kind of Romania, Bucharest, Bulgaria kind of area there. And then over to the United States, where it gets stupid busy. Now, this is like, you want to talk scattered, smothered, and covered here. Check this out as we get over to the United States right now. Last 24-hour traces, and it's just taking a minute to load because our internet is getting hammered, as always. Look at this, though. Coast to coast, that's a pretty big indicator. We got a lot of Mil aircraft up right now for some crazy reason. A lot of fighters, more than likely. And so you can see it over the Panhandles, over Southern California, Yuma, Nevada. So probably some red flag stuff going on. Right up the East Coast, as always. And so, again, very busy, very, very busy. So let's get over here to R135s. Let's just take a look. The only one that catches my eye here in the U.S. that is out of the norm is, again, this is in the last 3 days, running routes along that southern border. Same place we got those Mil Intel BE-20s. What's going on that border area that they've got eyes on? I don't know. Could it be a little concerning? Yes. All right. So check us out over the Black Sea. Again, where do you expect to see them? Those could be the British R135s. And then we got some activity rolling out of in the Mediterranean area. running along that Syrian border. It looks like we've got a lot of activity starting up in Syria. In R135, notice we got that little tiny spike and it disappears. So doesn't want to be seen. That's Japan, over Japan or Asia, Taiwan area. Now this can be your sub hunters. Last 3 days, very active. Notice West Coast, but get down here into the East Coast. Check it out. Little activity kicked off into the Gulf of Mexico. And then right off the East Coast, Cape Canaveral, we kind of expect that. And then up the East Coast near Norfolk, Virginia, along that Chesapeake area, kicking off right there. Kind of expect that too. That's not, I mean, we probably have subs in those 3 general areas. We get over to Europe and you can see it is just kind of the norm. We see some stuff there coming out of the UK. That's kind of an area they've got some activity exercises going on. Got this little one popping out of Norway off over the water and back. Could be a data point for you. And then we got some stuff over the Med headed into kind of central Middle East there. But very active. Now let's get back over here to the TACAMO side. Remember, take charge, move out. This is the Navy talking to ICBMs, these airborne command centers. That one kicked off the West Coast right there, means we probably have a U.S. sub over that area. They're probably doing launch codes. Same thing over in the Gulf of Mexico. Because remember, we had the sub hunter over that same area. So they're talking to we probably got Navy subs in those 2 areas, U.S. Navy subs. I had to guess. All right. All right. Let's get over to civilian spy. Only thing really happening is in the UK. That's going to be that Brio 68. It's running right there near Moldova, just south of Kaliningrad, and then running right up here along that Russian border, north of Finland and into that Russia area. So those are going to be your 3 primary areas they're looking at right now. And it's a lot of flight activity. Again, last 3 days. That's all this is. Okay. All right. We're back over to our main board. Let's kind of get into the meat of all of this. And like I said, very active today. 395. The last load was 566. So we've had some things since start to settle down a little bit. But you have the Gitmo bird up. Remember, that's Base Commander headed in and out of Lauderdale. Okay, now, last I left you, we were talking about DOJ had some big announcement they were going to make, and I was a little, well, I'll be honest with you. I was expecting it to be Trump-centric because of the chatter that's been going on. Will we see some type of an arrest of Trump? I don't know, but that's the chatter. So we'll keep our eye on it. I'm watching Guantanamo Bay. We're going to look at it again together to see if we've got any activity going on. But this looks like China has been caught trying to disrupt our justice system. They may be doing us a favor. Let's be honest here. As they accuse 10 Chinese spies and communist agents of malign schemes. But the reality is our DOJ, that's going to be your Gestapo, right? These guys are corrupt as can be. So I don't know they're doing any more harm than they're doing themselves here in the U.S. So, okay, now here's speaking of Gestapo, this looks like we've got this one taken off, landed 18 hours ago in 721AL. That's going to be your Gestapo plane. We've been having eyes on this. Just to point out, since Monday, it went down to, we saw it in Savannah, Hilton Head, and that was the day they made the big announcement on the Chinese stuff. And then from there, it went to Northwest Central Virginia. It's back in D.C. right now. We'll watch it and see where it goes. This could, may or may not be related. This is going to be kind of your legal eagles coming out of the DOJ, like all the attorneys and stuff. So when they're going to prosecute somebody at a big case, they roll in, drop a team off. They're usually deployed for that week, and then they come back down and pick them up. Okay. All right. Let's get over to Guantanamo Bay. Wednesday is usually not a day we have any activity. It's Tuesday, Fridays. So we do see some activity on the board. We'll continue to watch it, but notice you got this one coming out of Jacksonville. That's probably illegal eagles coming out of, that's the Jags coming out of Jacksonville. And same thing here. Notice this other one, this United Airlines. So that's 2 plane loads of legal eagles arriving today. And then it looks like this one goes back to Jacksonville. So they've got something going on that they're prepping for because they've got these folks coming in from Jacksonville Naval Air Station. And then, of course, this one, a little weird. Don't know what to make of that yet. It actually is on the board coming in, but it's coming out of Jamaica. And it's a United Airlines flight to Guantanamo Bay. And then, of course, it goes back to Jamaica. So I don't know what that's all about. unless there's a trial going on with somebody there that is from Jamaica, man. Who knows? Nonetheless, we'll keep our eye on it. We're watching for something to pop in out of sequence. All right. So while I'm gone, just keep your eye on the bay. Okay. It's Guantanamo Bay. If something pops in and out, they will wipe that very quickly because they won't want you being able to trace where it came out of. So again, we'll keep eyes on that. Okay. All right. Now, last time we talked, let me get over here to Google Earth. Let's see if this thing wants to work with me this morning. I had a project going here. We were looking at U.S. domestic troop movement. Now, I will tell you, I've been having conversations. World Economic Forum. Surprise, surprise, right? So was the lady that just got bounced. But there he is standing in. Now, he is the new PM. And I have to say, if I were a Brit, I'd be a little up in arms over this. And the reason I say that is because this is the third PM that they've put into play without any vote. This guy was a green card holder, and now he's running your country. So I would throw the BS flag on that in a New York second, especially given the fact that this guy is a WEF guy, and this the Liz Truss lady bounced after 45 days because she almost tanked the economy. This guy is a finance background, but given the fact that he is closely associated with the WEF, and we know what their plans are, I would be very, very cautious with this guy, as always. Not to mention, he is an appointee, just like Boris was, just like Liz was. I mean, 3 in a row, folks. Not good. All right. Now, let's talk a little bit more. Putin oversees successful annual nuclear drills, and this is updated. Basically, I guess they had some nuclear drills they took off. They notified the U.S. they were going to be doing some things, and that took place earlier today, and so 8 a.m. Eastern time. But nonetheless, the dude's getting prepped for something. I'm telling you. And this is the stuff that we got to pay attention to. Okay, here we go. Latest Ukraine updates: Moscow raises the dirty bomb claim at the UN. So I think what we're on the brink of seeing something unfold. Now, you'll notice my thumbnail today talks about Sum of All Fears. If you have not watched that movie, I would recommend you go and watch it. If you haven't seen it in a while, I'd say go back and watch it again. There's some very intricate stuff that goes on in that, and the fact that it shows that the old guard is same as the new guard, and that the Nazis are very well ingrained and embedded in today's world economics, okay, and just world powers in general. But it has to do with the dirty bomb that gets put into the port of Baltimore, and basically makes its way to a Super Bowl and is detonated and killing a bunch of people in the United States. But again, there is a lot of talk about these dirty bombs, and we've seen, a lot of finger pointing about potential false flags and things like that. But this is what is interesting about all of the things that we're discussing. All right, let me get into. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but you may remember that Trump actually, when he was nominated by the RNC to run the second time, he had an event take place at the White House. You remember Melania was wearing the green dress up over my head here, and that kind of stood out. But there was a singer there that came in and sang a song called Nessun Dorma, which basically means, will not sleep or will not rest. But if you remember, that is the final act out of the movie, the Sum of All Fears. And that's what we're talking about today. And that this is where this music is playing in the final act. And it's when they basically blow up this guy's car. This guy is kind of the George Soros of the world. He's a Nazi sympathizer. And but they show him taking out the bad guys during this whole scene. Like I said, fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it in a while, recommend you go back and watch it because it certainly has an appeal to what we're watching today. But nonetheless, let's get back over to our board, and then we're going to talk about future proves past here in just a minute, or past proves future. There we go. Okay, again, Russia's growing dirty bomb threat narrative is highly concerning. Yeah, no joke. I don't know if you caught this, but there were a lot of articles out showing that the Russians were actually in Ukraine wearing full Kim guard. All right. So all of this stuff, gas mask and Kim suits, etc. you know, if you've been in the military, we've had those drills as well. I remember doing it myself in the desert, and it was not pleasant. Then you got to get decontaminated. But putting on all this gear is because you're prepping for, in the event that you have either a bioweapon or a nuclear weapon discharging in the region, or chemical weapon for that matter. All right. Now it says here, Russia tells the UN that Ukraine is prepping to use a dirty bomb. We just talked about that. Telling you a lot of finger pointing going on, given the current climate. Very concerning both here in the U.S. as well as over there. Okay. Now let's look at the map here as we get into the NOTAMs. Notice we still have that exercise, probably why we saw the P8 sub-hunter stuff going on there. This whole area is still lit up. And then we get a little bit north, and we've got a lot of activity up here off of the Russian side of the house. Again, I think these are going to be missile launch stuff or activity, probably related to either ships or subs. And then let's get over here to the United States. Notice we got a lot of stuff happening north of the border, south of the border. All right. And a lot of warning zones, especially here off California. A lot of warning zones. That looks to be a missile launch window right there. Very, very active West Coast side of the house in terms of these military exercise operation boxes. Okay. All right. Go away from that. Now, here's a little data point for you. Israel has struck 90% of Iran's weapon production facilities in Syria. Who knew they even had them there? What are they doing there? But the fact that Israel is continuing to take these things out, Godspeed, good on them. Let's just hope they are continuing success throughout that. But remember, Iran, Turkey, and Russia are all aligned right there in Syria. So the fact that Israel is having discussions with Russia and building that relationship is definitely very concerning, okay, especially when it comes to Gog-Magog. Right? All right, let's take a look at the NATO ships in the region. As we look into this, you can see very active again out here in this general area. And very active along in the pipeline area. A lot of warships, NATO warships, parked right here. Kaliningrad, of course, that's Russian territory. And the last time we saw, if I'm not mistaken, let me back this up. Last time we saw the hunt for Red October, he was over in this general area. All right. That's the Russian sub, by the way. Okay. Past roofs. Now, I got ahead of myself, but let's take a look at this. I want to show you something that we should all pay attention to. I've talked about this in the past, but these are the flags that were put into play. Now, you recognize this one because that one right there is actually Antifa. But just notice black and reds, anti-fascist action. Okay, and then you get over here to the Ukraine, and these flags, identical, by the way. In terms of the red and black and the what is backing them. The reason I'm pointing this out is because this has been in play in the Ukraine since let's see, 1952-ish, 1950. Take a look at this. This is actually going to CIA.gov. This is a FOIA page. The History, Development, and Organization of Ukraine Resistance Movement, the UPA. All right. Now that ties into what we're watching them take place here today with Antifa. It's the same premise, same group. I'm telling you, Nazi sympathizers. But note the date on this. May 28th, 1952 is when this was publicized. It actually goes in before that. But that is our CIA working with the Nazis in Ukraine to basically fight the Russians. And it's been going on for years and years and years. And so it's a data point for you. But remember, if you go back and look at the Nazis during their initial push out, this is Hitler and his regime, and even leading up to Hitler, the big thing that came out of the Nazi, they had a phrase that was called out of the darkness, right? Or dark to light. Okay. That, folks, I believe, is where all this is tied to. Now, somebody tipping their hat that the Nazis have not gone away. You may remember from Project Paperclip or Operation Paperclip, we had 1,600 come in. Scientists, I've heard the numbers are really in the 60 to 70,000 Nazis coming into the United States at the time. being re-identified, given new names, home, pushed into programs, all the way from Los Alamos to the CIA, standing up of DARPA, standing up of NASA, and the CIA activity actually went here to the Ukraine. Okay, so again, past proves future, right? Now, Russia and China continue to push the UN for answers on these Ukrainian biolabs. Now, remember, what's really crazy, and I had a hard time finding these websites now, because if you go into Google search engine, it is just chock full. You can't even get to it until you go about 3 or 4 pages down now, with all of this information saying these are all false facts. Okay. Conspiracy theorists, all the other stuff. But then I find this one when you get a little deeper, and this was actually published 11/3/20, issued on it can't be right. It must be European 3/11. So March 11th, 2022. U.S. funded biolabs in Ukraine at the heart of ongoing propaganda war, and it basically goes into all of the stuff that we just talked about. Notice the names. Here, 1942, 1947 Manhattan Project, a ton of stuff, Department of Defense role, how much money they've spent. But then here's this UN Security Council to meet on bioweapons at the request of Russia, 11 March. So yeah, this would have been, that's how they write the date in, it's 3/11. So it's flip-flopped here, not 11/3. But nonetheless, it goes into all the details. Donor, Department of Defense USA, contractor teams, it gives names. This is a smoking gun. 12 biolabs, $21 million investment, and it's all by the U.S. Okay. Notice there are deadly pathogens, etc. That's why you see these guys suiting up. More than likely, all of the strikes that they're hitting in those areas that they're going in are probably hitting some of these bioweapon labs and releasing stuff into the air, or potentially releasing stuff into the air that could actually harm everybody in the area. So it's not good, but it just goes to show you, look, if you back up onto Google and you get into all of this, notice as I get up here, the first whole page of this, theories, all these false claims. This now is actually part of you can go into this one and it actually shows you, it's the UK embassy in Ukraine, the US embassy in Ukraine, talking about these very weapons. But here we are, Ukraine fact-checking, bogus. Kremlin's allegations, they're bogus. No sign of Ukraine bioweapons labs. Just on and on about these fresh claims, no trace. Oh, here's one for you. The myth went from, it's all a QAnon thing. False claims. Just tons and tons of stuff that you have to weed through as they throw things out there to try and keep you from finding the truth. But we know the truth is out there. We just looked at it, and there's documents to prove it. And if you go into the Wayback Machine, there's actually videos that were done by ABC News on these labs. Okay. So again, past proves future. The Nazis never went away. All of this stuff is tied, and this is a deep state. It's a stronghold in Ukraine. This is all of them tied in. This is how they're laundering money, etc. So just keep your eyes on it. But that's why things are starting to get pretty active, because it looks like Russia has gotten to the point where they're starting to interact with the areas that our deep state or our agencies are in. And so it's going to force our hand here pretty quickly to engage fight or flight, right? So, all right, here it is again, week 6. We're just continuing to get hammered here in the United States, hitting our fiber optic hub. That's why you get the spin when I'm trying to post something. So nonetheless, it's unrelenting. So let's go over here and take a look at Biggs Army Airfield. This has been one of our areas we've been watching very closely. Notice we got the long hauls coming in again, 777-200s, Camber flights, Omni flights, Shannon, Baltimore, Washington. Over here, looks like they're leaving from here, headed to Alliance. Then they'll head across the drink. And then we've got these smaller ones en route, except that one. That's coming in from Shannon. But that's an Allegiant Air coming from Boston, which is kind of strange. And this one coming in from Rhode Island. So we'll have to watch and see where those end up going. But those are your little 737 size birds. And I don't see them bringing in, I just don't see them bringing in poppies. I don't. I see them bringing in maybe some civilian contractors that are getting pre-positioned into the field for some crazy reason. So just my opinion, but okay. Now this is going to be over in Poland. Just note that air support from France. And let's see, as we get down into this, Air Transport International from Dulles, Washington Dulles, Camber Flight from Dover. And let's see, those are the main. And then on the other board here, anything catches my eye there. Looks fine here. See where we're departing to. Again, that is French CTM in and out. GTI headed to Hong Kong from there, which is really interesting. That's a heck of a long flight. Again, 747-400. And then German Air Force coming and going out. So, okay. Very active base, though, by the way. It looks like we've kind of reached the main push. Could be a secondary, but that's going to be a forward operating base. That'll be probably the first one to get hit if things go hot. Okay. Okay. This is, let's see what we got here. Ramstein. We've got one coming inbound from Turkey. And then we've got Camber Flight, an Atlas Air, and then a Reach Flight. And then an outbound Camber Flight, 47400, and another one scheduled departure, 777-200 Camber Flight. Destination unknown. All right. Anderson is out in Guam. Seeing a Navy logistics bird, an Omni flight coming in from Anchorage, and then that Omni going back to Anchorage. So it looks like that's dropping off some troops, headed back. And then these are headed down south to Australia. That's the Royal Australian. These are scheduled departures rolling back. So it looks like Australia's put some stuff up at Guam. We're picking up some stuff in Guam, bringing it back down to Australia. All right. Here's your live camber flights. Troop movers, 4 of them on the board, rolling out of Bahrain, Ramstein, sorry. Robert Gray, that's Fort Hood in Texas, and Sophia looks to be moving troops around. And then here's your Omni flights, Shannon, Ireland, Anderson. So Guam and Ireland going back into U.S. National Cargo. So we got this one coming from Rhode Island into Biggs. Again, don't know what that's all about. We'll have to watch and see where it goes. NCR Anchorage to Shanghai. So moving some equipment, probably, more than likely, out to Asia Pacific. And then same thing here. It looks like this one's coming in from Mattery. Interesting. 747-400 into Houston Bush. That's coming out of South America, north of, let's see, that is just the French Ghana. So, Cayenne. Wonder what we're doing there. All right. Gonna be your Brits. Let me back up and see. Looks like we got something headed in the Northern Africa area, and then one headed back from Cyprus up to the UK. Get over here. Now, this one we were looking at the other day, this one actually came out of Trenton, Canada, which I thought was interesting, and it went to Phoenix, Arizona. What were they doing in Phoenix? Don't know. But nonetheless, that's where they went. Right. CNV, it's going to be your Navy carriers. Got 5 of them on the board. Notice there are no destinations, just departures all the way from Bahrain to right there in Greece and Base Andrews, Jacksonville, and Lemoore, California. So mostly U.S. domestic stuff, except for a little one down here. All right, the Ruskies. Nothing on the board from the Ruskies today. They look to be not flying. Okay, and then the last one here. Now, this one came in the other day. I don't know what it was all about, but it went into Savannah, Georgia, probably for maintenance, given the fact that it was a G5. And it is Polish Air Force, but Savannah is going to be your Gulfstream headquarters. More than likely, that's where that ended up going. And it was not related to the DOJ aspect, okay? But I just wanted to circle the wagons on that. make sure we were all clear, right? All right, folks, listen, that is going to do it. I will see you guys in 3 weeks. Sorry, I went a little long, and I know it's a little delayed, but I wanted to record it versus go live. I'm glad I did so because I had a lot of technical issues trying to get this one done. So other than that, you guys stay safe out there, stay frosty, keep that powder dry. I'll see you on the other side. God bless. Yeah. Check out the latest gear and products at monkeyworxus.com.